Welcome to CivilNet. My guest via Skype from Istanbul is Dr. Sebnem Korur Fincanci. She is a full-time professor at the Forensic Medicine Department at Istanbul University. Dr. Fincanci, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for calling me. It's a privilege.
For us as well. You very recently received the International Hrant Dink Award for 2014. You are a person who has dedicated her life to the prevention of torture in Turkey and not only in Turkey. And before we talk about your very prolific career in that field, I want to talk about the award that you received. You gave a very emotional speech at the award ceremony, and you kept repeating that you were embarrassed. Could you please tell us where those words and thoughts came from?
Actually, it was a speech among the family members because I had the Brothers Award granting support on that night, and also the award was presented by the Saturday Mothers, as you know. So it was like having the brothers' message from the mothers, and a very emotional night for me. And of course, the award is priceless. Really, it is the most valuable award that I have received till now, because we all know that we have struggled on the same path with Hrant Dink for many years. And immediately to be presented with the award on behalf of his name was so important. So it was my emotions and my sincere feelings that night.
Dr. Fincanci, torture is used probably in every country in the world to varying degrees. It was prevalent in Turkey as well. And you had written extensively about it. You had done many studies about it. At a time when it was being covered up by authorities. In the last 10, 15 years, there has been changes taking place in Turkey, but are those changes superficial or are they fundamental changes? Is torture still being used today in Turkey, or has the form of it changed? Actually,
torture is practiced continuously. It is a persistent problem for many countries, although the human rights activists struggle and combat torture, because the state's mind is the same. It is a problem with the state's mind, actually, because they need an instrument just to suppress people, just to manage and manipulate the public. And torture is an instrument for this purpose. But of course, it can change some forms. It can change as means of methodology, because then, for example, the physicians can start to diagnose some methods of torture, safeguards of the legal procedure. So then torture just change forms, or the face of the torture changes, but the main aim doesn't change. So we can still witness that torture is practiced in Turkey, but not in the detention centers, maybe on the streets, as we have witnessed last year during the Gezi protests, or recently with all the kind of detention process. During detention, during arrest, they use extreme force against the detainees, and they beat or they force people to be stripped naked searches. They just force people to get DNA samples, even though there is no need of collection of DNA sample, because they are not rape suspects, but they are some political detainees, actually.
Dr. Fincanci, you are, excuse me, you are a medical doctor with a PhD and who has done extensive work in this field. Now, the question I'm going to ask you may be perceived as being political, but I think as someone who has been involved in the processes in Turkey and in the region, perhaps you would be able to answer the question. Recently, in the many interviews that we do here at CivilNet, we've been speaking with Turkish activists, intellectuals, political scientists, and not only Turkish experts. The problem that exists in Turkey today, not only of torture, but of suppression of minorities, its Kurdish issue, its denial of its history, the fact that perhaps some argue that the modern Turkish Republic was founded on the ruins of the Armenian nation. And is that a problem in establishing democratic institutions, in establishing or reinstating the basic fundamental rights of human beings? Is there a continuum here that you can see? If Turkey does sit down and comes to grips with its history, will that improve the situation in the country? Confrontation
with the past violence and genocide and any kind of state violence and continuing impunity does not build a democratic society and democratic country, actually. We have to confront with our past history. It is very important. All kind of violence. Some people just claim that Ottoman Empire is different from Turkish Republic, but actually Turkish Republic is a continuation of Ottoman Empire in every means, in the mind of the state, the establishment of the state. So we have to confront with our past crimes. We should have truth commissions for the past as well as today. The near past and of course the one in hundreds, we will just have the 100th year of the genocide, Armenian genocide, and afterwards we have other violence stories as well. Of course, the Greek people just forced to leave the country, for example, or the other groups, the other minority groups, and the Kurdish people, of course, forced migrations, disappearances, and the killings. So we have a long history of violence. We have to confront and we have to just speak the truth now. It is the time if we want to have a democratic country.
And just as a final question, as a recipient, a laureate of the International Hrant Dink Award, just your thoughts about Hrant. Do you think that his death, as horrible as that sounds, changed things in Turkey?
Of course, for a while, we were very hopeful about the reaction of the public, because we had the first most attended demonstration after his death. But unfortunately, if we do not choose to talk the truth totally and continuously, then people forget. So we have to discuss how states had practiced violence against people in this country, and particularly the Armenian people who have been killed, who have been massacred during 1915, and afterwards all the threats of the states, and of course now the deaths of our friends Hrant Dink. So it is not only one event that changes the opinion of the public, but it was a hopeful situation after his death.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fincanci, for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to talk to us. Congratulations on receiving the award. Congratulations on the fascinating and very, very important work that you do. So thank you very much, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again soon.
Thank you very much, and have a successful broadcast.
Thank you. I'd like to remind our viewers that my guest via Skype from Istanbul was Dr. Sebnem Korur Fincanci. Stay with CivilNet.